How's that for recording? How's that for sound? Well, I guess we're doing low resolution. Not really. Is it light? Yeah, so low resolution today, folks. I'm even going to hold the microphone because I'm just sort of not at a desk today. I actually think I should go to a desk. Wonder if I can pause this. Oh, I have one person already, so I guess I'll wait. See if it's okay. You can type any questions you want, and I'll throw answers out there or answer them here. Not liking how bad this camera's looking. Share screen. Seen some of the other videos up in this corner here. I guess point was it's not working. Anyways, in the top left corner, I've seen them put the chats there, so I don't know if you folks can see the chats or not, or if you just type into it and it disappears. But I liked how he had it, this other blogger. Oh shit, I guess I'm really popular tonight. So yeah, I wanted to get it where everyone can see the chats when there's questions or whatnot. Hopefully you guys can, folks can. So yeah, it's winter in Canada, so I'm back for about a month, and trying to do some out and about videos. Not really sure what to show. I mean, if you're from the West, it's all pretty boring, to be honest. I mean, I guess for the Filipinos folks who follow the channel, it's interesting for them to see it. And today at the DMV, I actually ran into a Filipino couple, even from my island, Negros Occidental. And they've been in Canada for a year and a half. And they like it. It's like, oh, it's great. Oh, we make so much more money here. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know. So I guess there's some truth to them coming over to work in Canada. That's profitable. And it's not that cold yet for winter either. It's like 5 degrees today, -5 degrees. It wasn't very cold at all. So yeah, maybe they've only had easy winters. But the other thing, of course, and I did try to demonstrate this in today's 2 postings, that mall that we were in today, me and the boy, to go get his license, was much bigger when I was a kid. I'm surprised they've cut it all up into little pieces. And as you saw, half the store was empty, and there's a huge 1,200 kid high school in the backyard of that mall. I don't know how they're not carrying a few little greasy spoon, little Cabadera like kind of eateries there for the students. I mean, if I didn't not want to live here, it might be something I would look into. But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting back to the Philippines. I'm finding it really boring. I just don't have anything to do. I mean, I do some chores. I did some renovations already, but I mean, yeah, like back home, I actually enjoy my day, and here it's just waiting for it to end, so the next one can come and go, you know. But yeah, so oh, no questions. I'm down to one person again. But yeah, so I won't do this for too long tonight, just because there's no questions and there's no audience. Oh, back up to 2. That's nice. So one of the viewers wrote a question in, and that's why I started doing this whole my background story thing, 1 episode a day, since I didn't really have any content for while I'm here. I mean, like I said, I'm not living a very exciting life, and no one wants to see snow-covered roads. I mean, they're kind of depressing. But yeah, so that was by viewer request, I guess. I'm not really sure how much to share, because I always use my catchphrasing: "Don't share too much of your personal stuff." I don't really want to do too much of my personal stuff, but I don't mind doing a kind of loose and spotty bio. I get a lot of hate on it already too, which is hilarious. So I just saying keyboard warriors, and it's because they, yeah, it's funny. So no, I mean, I put out ads today for the fish, the business I do over here for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, and then my plan is just to go up to Edmonton for a few days, maybe Vancouver or friends north of Vancouver there for a few days, and then head back to the Philippines. I was talking with two more people now about Thailand in January, so I guess that might still be an option. Seems to be a lot of interest, a lot more than I expected, to be honest. So I guess we'll see how many people decide they want to do that. The other thing is both of my meet and greets I'm going to do over here, one closer to my house and one out in Edmonton, are going to be geared towards expats moving there. Like if they want to ask questions, if they need help setting up, because there is a lot of crap online, and a lot of it is really not useful at all. Or it is, but it's outdated, because the other thing is, as we all know, they change laws very quickly over there. So being someone who's there, living in it, doing it, and making more modern videos on it, I think I'm a reasonable source of information. So helps the local bar I hold it at each place, They'll buy some drinks, I'm sure. And for me, it just helps me build a bigger expat community where I am. And I am really, really wanting to go back to General Santos. So we'll see how things go, and then when I get back, and if they're not wonderful, or I don't decide to open up the restaurant. So I'm only back for 3 months, maybe 4 tops, and then I'm gone again for the whole summer. So it really makes me conflicted on whether I want to reopen either bar or any bar, or I should just go back and just relax, enjoy the cheap living with no day-to-day grind, and just spend time. I might do that. Maybe I'll just flip a few vehicles or something. I don't know. It depends on what I go back with too. Like, I mean, right now I'm planning to go back with 3,500. That'll do me 3 months, no problem. And I'm getting my passport renewed before I leave. That was one of the things I almost did today, but we went to a smaller town for the licensing instead of so I heard some sort of sound. Other than going into the capital. If we went to the capital, if my son had chosen a passport, I would have went there and done mine at the same time. As it stands, I got 2 runs into Ottawa still to go for the fish biz. So on one of them, I'll just go in real early in the morning, because the immigration office, if it's anything like the DMV was today, it's going to be packed with people that, let's just say, they're getting all their first licenses at 40, right? So, and I don't understand how you should be able to even get a license if you can't speak the local language. How can you read the signs then? Like in the Philippines, part of the criteria is you do got to have some level of command of the local language to get your license transferred over. That's why people use fixers, right, to cheat that one angle. And not that I would. I just got my normal license because I'm not there long enough anymore. I'm never going to be in country more than 6 months at a time anymore. Not because I don't want to be, but just because the way this whole schedule going back and forth is working, right? So I don't need to transfer my license. They say it's 3 months, but not when you're really going home. They don't expect you to like do all of that. So for me, though, I do want to put the vehicle properly insured and all that stuff in my name still. And if I flip it, then I'll have to do it to the next one. So it is one of those things where maybe at some point I'll get suckered into doing a Philippines license. But for now, I'm just going to keep my Canadian one. And they let me. Like, I've been to the land transfer office a couple times for different things, the bike, the first van, the second van. And they take the Ontario license, no problem, right? So, and I have my ACR card for a year, and it doesn't expire when you leave, as long as when you. Well, I mean, it could if the date of expiry happens, but you won't have to when I go back for 3 months. On the third month, get suckered into another 10,000 pesos. I'll be able to just continue using that same card. So I'll just be paying my regular 30, 30, and then a 60, and then pretty much I'm gone, right? So, yeah. So that was the ACR card dilemma that I was, originally mistold about by Keyboard Warrior. But because it would have been a pain in my butt to end up getting, maybe three ACR cards a year if that's the way they were playing it. Every 3 months you had to buy a new one. I didn't want to do that. It's awfully pricey. So, no, but they're good for a year. So if you leave and you come back and it's still valid, it's still valid. So you still got to do your 30-day and then your 30-day. But then when you go to that next one, you don't have to buy a new ACR card as long as it hasn't expired. So for me, mine will expire, I don't know, I guess in the fall every year, which will be when I'm there, when I come back from September. So they're going to get me for one a year no matter what. And that's fine. I actually like it. Like when I met those Filipinos in the license bureau today, I showed them the ACR card. I'm like, see. It's my top piece of ID actually because I'm so used to it there. Now that I ever get checked for it there, but like I don't prepare to pull out a passport or my license when I'm in the Philippines. I prepare to pull out my ACR card. I mean, so or ARC card, But yeah, so it's been a slow day, and I went out last night there for a little bit, showed some of the malls, and doesn't feel very Christmassy over here. You see people with some lights on for sure, Christmas lights, outdoor decorations. And in the stores, there's a bit of the Christmas carol-y thing, but it doesn't. I don't feel the festive in the air among the people. I'm not seeing it. Like I was wearing a Christmas hat, and everyone was looking at me weird, and I was like, "Really? It's the 15th of December. It's Christmas time. What? So I don't know. Maybe as they've gotten woke, they've forgotten how to have a good time and relax and have fun. But I'm not gonna let that stop me while I'm here. I mean, they didn't celebrate or set up anything in the house here where I am, and I'm out in my own RV, so it's like I'm not gonna be setting up a tree in the RV. That's just crazy. So yeah, I did some eggnog, and I'm by myself for Christmas Eve and probably Christmas Day. So I'll probably just drink the other bottle of Tanduay I brought back with me. But or I'll sleep it away. I mean, it depends on if we get snow or not. I might be bum tired after doing the fish runs, so it might be a blessing in disguise that I don't have a whole bunch of obligations for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I hope I'm really busy. That would make the world a difference. Right now, I've got me about 10 orders for Christmas Eve and 3 for New Year's Eve, which normally it would be 4 times the amount on each day by now. So, like I said, I got to focus on that for sure. But, I'm down to 0. Perfect time to relocate. Oh, I'm back up to 1. Okay. So, yeah, any questions, feel free to type them up and I'll answer them. Okay, we're back to 0. Okay. So I'm just rambling on. I don't know if you have any questions or comments about any recent videos or where you're from. Are you one of the Philippines people or one of the Canadians? Yeah. So I do the live chats normally so the viewers will help steer them with questions and comments and things. Don't want to just sit and rehash videos I've already posted. That's no fun. So yeah. Probably I'll kill it in half an hour doesn't get more exciting, and just don't want to beat a dead horse, that's my problem while I'm here in Canada. Is I just really don't have a whole lot to share because nothing here is all that exciting. It's winter, and yeah, that's how it is. There's just nothing to do. It's North America. North America doesn't have anything fun. Our festivals are lame, and I mean, just you guys, if you followed me through the liquor store the other day, the amount of party here is crazy. Like, I would probably drink about 150 in Canadian alcohol value if I had to. I release a part of the bio every day, once a day, just to keep people tuning in daily. Because while I'm here in Canada, I just don't have anything that's, daily postable. So, well, Frank, it depends on which Frank, because there are two Franks. If we're talking in the game, I mean, I haven't even started talking about D&D. I actually kind of kept it out of the topic. But actually, where I am right now in the storyline, what I just posted today, which was my time in Kingston, was where I originally met Frank. And yeah, he was an interesting guy, and then that's why there's two Franks. One Frank played the other Frank. So yeah. I mean, I don't go into too many of people's names or any kind of events. Like, I'm trying not to get too crazy incriminatory, we'll say, in the bio. Because I'm not looking to make anyone's life complicated, and I know how the woke machine works with things online. So that's the other thing, is I don't really want to talk about certain things because I don't need that grief. I don't need people trying to make life difficult, right? Because of things like that. I'm just trying to give a general storyline. There is definitely large portions of it not going to be talked about, and I definitely don't name names. So probably the first story I'll share with Frank in the analogy will be more one of the wholesome ones, where we drove across Canada together, and in a car that was pretty broken down in some serious storm weather, and the storm followed us the whole way, and it led to us nearly freezing to death in this damn car. It froze solid in Edmonton. We had to even leave it in a garage for 2 nights to thaw to start. It was like -45 weather in Edmonton. It was just crazy bad, and that was his first time going west, and so it was a good adventure. So I'll probably talk about that story. That'll be a couple episodes in for now, for sure. But yeah, there'll be a piece every day of the bio. And I'm always welcome to questions. Like, I did note something I missed today that I probably should have mentioned in the next one as relevant to the storyline. But at the same sense, I don't want to set the AI have to be able to know all my passcodes because it knows all the Snoopies of my histories, right? So I'm being sarcastic there. But it's just one of those things where I'm not really sure what to say and what to talk about in that. So, and I've been doing it off the cuff. I haven't been rehearsed or pre-writing anything because I just don't like doing that. I think it's really fake. You can always tell who's really polished, who's practiced this, and who has outtakes. It's too fake. I like to try and keep it real. But no, and then there's other guys too besides Frank. I mean, there's a whole roster of players. And we can talk about those storylines. Maybe I will get into start just telling D&D storylines, giving away scripts. If I get real bored for content by the time I'm leaving here, because I could definitely do that and keep gamer geeks and story people in for probably a long time. But at the same sense, who wants to hear a guy just rambling on about gameplay, right? Part of why I'm doing the show is the whole point was to turn the actual games that were played into animated cartoons. And like I found a few other real simple, real rudimentary graphical cartoon people on YouTube. I don't know, maybe I could go that low grade for like, yeah, a little YouTube show of a certain game. I don't know. And the problem is that the D&D world of the old days, like when Frank played, um, there's so much stuff that's copyrighted now by the mouse, right? Just shuts you right down for, like, example, he had Chewbacca hanging out as a sidekick for a while. He was, like a satyr, which is half goat, half man character. And one of his lackeys, one of his sidekicks was Chewbacca in part of the campaign. And there was some shotgun action, things like that, which I don't even know if YouTube would let you draw those kinds of cartoons. But so I'm just sure the mouse would be all over us for those clips. But they added some of the funny of it, right? Especially that particular story. But so yeah, maybe I'll do Legends of COD, Chaos Overdrive, because that's the thing too. Is my D&D world, because I've been playing for 30 years, a little bit longer actually, but it's had different incarnations of key players. And I've just taken the world, because I play an evolving world, non-sandbox formula, meaning the players control the quest, they control what they're doing, they go all over the map, and I have most of the map memorized, all the various little campaigns and storylines and stupid characters. Now, obviously, that's what I've been starting to type up in these atlases so that people can have that information. But because it's not sandbox, you're just not doing just your thing, just your quest. It leads to guys like Frank just creating crazy, epic storylines, right? So, and then he had his timeline, and in his timeline he was quite popular. But we'll do a video maybe about that sometime. And but it was one of those things where there was then the second evolution of the game, which we call the Resolations, because the character that was the buffest was called Resnigoff, which is what the show's on. So it's all those. It was my kids mostly playing when they were younger. And then there was also a time even before that where it was like my university crowd of guys who played, right? Really where I built most of the original campaigns that I keep resetting and then having new generations play it. But what happens is every time new groups play it, in mine, because it's an evolving world, their actions change how things happen. So maybe whole campaigns that were written for the previous group are now no longer usable for this new group, because they've changed the world in such a way where it's not the same threat. It's not the same. There's just no way to incorporate it properly. And so as a DM, I've had to rewrite whole sections of, campaigns for different parts of the world as they've changed in the 3 incarnations now. Now I'm about to embark on a 4th one by having a Filipino group. That's sort of my plan. So, because as I said in other videos, I think that D&D is a logic builder. It helps you make you smarter, but it's a big world. So it's one of those things where I definitely want to get it all typed up, atlased up, and then I can, like I said, get it translated. And maybe, like I said, I'm just part of my fun when I go there, because I don't feel I'm traveling enough in the Philippines when I'm there. I keep getting stuck running these little bars. And don't get me wrong, I like the bar in Jensen. I didn't even mind it when I had customers in San Carlos. This is so few. But the reality is I should just go there and just enjoy life. The workaholic in me that says I got to have a business here, I got to have a business there. I'm beginning to think I don't, I mean, especially this time, because I'm back for such a short period of time when I go back. So I'm thinking to myself, I would like to just tour around, drive around in the van, slinging D&D stuff, or going to game cons. There's a whole bunch of them in the spring to go to. So their spring is non-existent. They're the same warm, hot temperature all the time, right? So, yeah, it's one of those things where if I was to, get stuck here long term, I don't know how boring this channel might get, and I don't want that. So I guess I'd get stuck doing a bunch of D&D stories then. But I gotta get some graphic going with it. Even if I do like, oh, what was that silly little D&D guy? He had a whole bunch of Puffin Forest. Puffin Forest. I should search his channel, see if it still exists. But that low level, he was probably doing that himself on a tablet. I got a tablet. Maybe not for the main story that I'm, trying to do the show on, but I could, there's so many other stories I could do. So, and if I'm just doing something to kill time and make it so I have a following, then yeah, I guess that would be a way to latch in new followers for sure. I guess we'll see how the bio goes. Like I said, I've gotten some feedback that's positive, some that's funny. I've also gotten some hate, but I don't really care about the hate. I mean, I'm out of that circle of hate that was developing with the other bloggers of the Philippines. None of them have mentioned me in a while because I guess I'm not taking the bite. But yeah, they do still keep harping about the same one guy that it's like, oh, why are you talking about him? Why are you giving him energy? But I think the problem is the same issue that I'm having here is, at least when I'm in the Philippines, there's stuff to do. I do videos about my van. I do videos walking around my neighborhood, hunt for dogs, things like this. But I mean, a lot of these other guys seem to be, that's their problem, is they actually have nothing to content about. So they're really just contenting about other people's content. It's like, oh, that's a dry watch. Like this one guy just stopped after like 3 or 4 minutes. It was just boring as heck. And I don't want to become that where people only are clicking on me because I'm in their feed and they don't really want what I'm posting. That's why I like the thumbs up. Thanks to the one person that sent a thumbs up. Much appreciated. Because that helps the algorithm. I mean, if all 4 of you folks who are in give me a thumbs up, that will tell the algorithm, oh, this is a great show. And then it'll pop up on other people's feeds, right? So, sort of one of those nice things to do. But it's just like I told people I'd follow them if they follow me. And I haven't really had any of these other channels jump on that. And then 2 of the channels that I do actually follow are now living pretty darn close to me, like easily within a 2-hour drive. So I'm going to try and do some sort of guest appearances when I'm back. I'll see if they're willing to meet. 2 of them are Canadians. So it's like, hey, I mean, come on. Let's just all Canadians, hook up together. It was funny, though, because one guy was telling his thing how he's paying $28,000 a month. And he translated it to $400, but I don't think that's how the math works. Canadian dollar is not that strong. I think it's more like 650, 700 even maybe, which it's fine because it's a beautiful house and it's in a great area and blah 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 blah. But like, I'm a cheap Charlie. I loved my 5,500 peso house in General Santos. Like, that was a great deal, right? And it was for sale. I could have bought the whole house for like 35,000 Canadian, which is nothing. I mean, if I sold the RV and the boat and 1 car, boom, there's my money, right? There's the house. That's a good trade. But it didn't end up working out that way. And I don't know if it's for sale still or what the situation with it is, but my lady didn't like it. She said it had a haunted house feel to it. So she'd be a hard sell. One of superstitious people, convinced her to come on and, hey, thanks for the second thumbs up. So no, it's one of those things where it's not the only cheap property. And I didn't really like the layout of the house, and that was probably what was going to have to get stuck dumping at least another 5,000 or 6,000 to repair the roof on it. It wasn't leaking hard, but it was definitely blowing away in the wind. It had lost some of its tack that wasn't sticking to the roof anymore. It was like a flap. So yeah. Problem is that house would have been a pain in the butt because it was all like lithium and plaster ceilings and stuff. So just to get all that out of the way, to fix the stuff that's rotten above it, I would have put a second floor on it. If I took that roof off, because in the Philippines you can easily add floors to buildings, and they're all made out of heavy duty stone and stuff. So they actually has those load bearing walls for a wooden top building, So reason why they don't build with wood though a lot is the flooding, the winds, and bugs, termites. It's a big deal there. So maybe you can't necessarily build with wood if you're going to be long term, but you can also run critter things. Like I'm bringing back 2 little ultrasonic weapons against rodents and bugs. That you just plug them into a socket. Now they are 3-prong sockets, so I'm gonna have to use an adapter, but whatever. If it keeps all the roosters shut up and keeps the dogs from barking because it's effing with them, good enough for me. So it's worth the try. It's just like I'm bringing back the inverters, right? Like everything I'm doing with this trip, I'm making it so it profits me in some way. Yeah, I'm here to make money. I fixed the cards already. Got my son his license today. So yeah, I'll be okay. I'm doing and I'm selling stuff, but I'm also bringing stuff back with me. So like I'm bringing back 2 inverters, so I'll have unlimited power. There will never be another power outage for me. Because I mean, if I'm going to run a restaurant, no matter where I run it, I can't have power outages. I mean, just for refrigeration alone, too much equipment gets lost in the heat way too fast. And like when I busted my own fridge there, like an effing idiot, because I fired people for using tools to chip ice out of freezers, right? So I knew better, but I did it. I nicked it a little bit, and everything was gone. And so the fridge was gone. And trying to keep stuff going through the tornado with no power, with ice, was a pain in the butt. Plus, none of the stories were planned ahead with lots of ice, right? They didn't have independent power sources. So if I have independent power, I can make sure my freezers are always on and I can sell ice, except for it'll be 10 pesos per tube instead of 5 because, hey, I'm the only ice. Plus, I'll make it with actual filtered water. I'm really suspect on if they do that. A lot of the tubes I buy, I don't think they're making them either. They're buying them from some third party source. So I would hope it was all, frozen from clean water. But, like I said, it's one of those things I do for my guests at my restaurant is I use bottled water for the ice. And the Westerners, they appreciate that. They know the ice can be deadly. So, but yeah, no, it should be interesting to see what I do when I get back. But I'm definitely not going to ever run out of power again. And I'm bringing back another device that plugs into the cigarette lighter and gives you an actual outlet. So I can even use my little truck as a generator now. So that's useful. But and I'm willing to go back and sell the truck. Like I'm going to relist everything the day I get back because I don't mind. I'll have enough money to go buy another truck. The problem is I just don't see a lot of automatic trucks. So, and I definitely like that one's automatic. And I mean, at the same sense, I don't need a truck, but I like this 4x4. I just wish it was more jacked up. And I've seen jacked up models. So it's one of these things where these are kit cars pretty much. Like they get shipped over in boxes and they just all assemble like a field Jeep. So they're ridiculously simple to work on. And I'm learning that. And as you people watch the videos for the Suzuki, you see how everything does just kind of fit into its own little place and it comes apart pretty easy. But because they come apart so easy, I could have like the whole van lifted off. I could have leaf springs put in, jack up those wheels, put up an even bigger diameter wheel on it. It's 4x4, right? Redo the struts. And I could probably do all that for like $1,000 our money. I could probably do another, say, $1,000 our money for an amazing paint job and all the welding that needs to be done. So no Bondo, welding in new steel. And now for like $3K all day, I've got an indestructible 4x4 van. I can go anywhere I want to the Philippines, up and down mountains and everything, right? But I don't know. I would rather just maybe just sell it as is and just get some of my money back and then go buy 2 more. Something like that. So we'll see what happens with how much I go back with. But I'd be honest with you, I would love to have that van over here. I think that van would be fun as shit to run over here. And I mean, when it's only a $12,000 vehicle, how bad can the tariffs into Canada be? Like, would it really be that brutally priced to ship a new one over here? Because they would make amazing little fish trucks. They'd be a great secondary vehicle, being 4x4 the way they are. I mean, I live in a valley, and so there is a big hill we have to climb to get in and out of the area. And when it's really greasy, if you have got a light vehicle, you're not getting up that hill. I mean, we've had problems with vehicles that were too low to the ground. I had a little Volvo and a Volkswagen Passat, and they were just so low to the ground that it was really hard for them to get up that hill when it was covered in snow. Having a little 4x4, that would be nice. That would be nice. So, but yeah, no, I mean, and that could be a whole other business too, importing the cheap vehicles. Like Toyota makes a pickup truck for about $10,000 over there, new. That's got a 6-cylinder, 200 pounds of torque. It's a great little work truck, and it's very bare bones. Roll up windows, push locks, very basic, ventilation for the stuff. It's a bare bones. It's a work truck. We can't even get anything like that here. Everything here is doodads and whistles and lots of electronics. So you get stuck when something breaks. I'd like to import one of those cheap Toyota trucks. Just like I know there's obviously the nicer trucks like the Helix, of course, which is still got all the gadgets and babbles and stuff, but you don't see those here in Canada. It's just like you don't see Priuses in the Philippines, but they're all over Cambodia, right? So I don't know. I think there's certain contracts where the governments of certain countries are like, you only bring in X number of models. You know what I mean? They don't let them release their whole line. And with the Philippines, I'm not sure why they would be hating on the Prius. I mean, they're cheap and easy to maintain, and they can be jacked up, and they got good balls, and I don't know. But yeah, they're not existing. I went by the Toyota, and they list a whole bunch of other Toyota products, but they don't list the Prius. So it is what it is. Although I did see a Privia, and if people who know my old channel know I love that van. That was a great van. Toyota had to stop making it because the things didn't die. They reach 1,000,000 every time almost. And but I saw one of those in the Philippines. So I guess they had the Privia for a while. And it's a great van. It's a 4x4. It's like the Suzuki van I got now, just bigger. Like its cockpit I could drive in. Like that's one of the biggest negatives to the Suzuki is it's made for a tiny person. I'm too big in it. But yeah, I mean, I would over the Philippines love to get my hands on a Privia. I even have, I never bring all the tires and parts I have here for one, but they're a 4x4 all-wheel drive, middle of the vehicle engine displacement, so it's like behind the driver's and passenger seat, but in the floor, and had a little built-in fridge stock from the factory up front, even made ice, and the chairs in the center could rotate to look backwards. And you get like a little table thing. It was amazing. And it had 3 rows of seats. So you were sitting, your 7 people, 8 people. And in some models, they even had a 4th back seat that faced backwards. I never saw one of those over here, but I know that in Japan they had them because I saw pictures online. But they're just a great vehicle. Great vehicle. So but I did see one. It was kind of beat up, kind of rusted, and that, which means it's well loved, in the Philippines once. So yeah, I don't see them here anymore either. That's the problem. Is they were too good, and then they did just start to rot away. Like the salt would get them in the same places, but they'd make it to 1,000,000 kilometers. They were a durable vehicle. But no, so. I don't know what I'm going to do for vehicle when I get back. If I sell the van, I'll probably just use that money to buy 2 more vans or 2 more vehicles that I can fix and flip. I'll just drive one of them until I flip it, right? I mean, it's always easier if you're bombing around in a vehicle and it's already plated, it's already everything, to sell it, because you can sell it to people who are, not licensed, and it's not your problem. The registration isn't tied to you. It's just is the vehicle registered for the road, and then whoever has it next, it's their problem, right? So, which is a backwards way for sure, but it's just how it is there. So, because I was worried about that. My motorbike's plated, I thought, to me. No, it's plated to the bike, just meaning that the bike has in fact got legit tags. It has nothing to do with me. If I sell it, nowhere does that plate lead to me. It leads to the bike. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of weird. So yeah, it's pretty good actually. So I'm not too worried about that with registering something, getting something already, because it's just a selling point for all those people who can't do that because they don't have a license, they couldn't get insurance. There's a whole bunch of negatives on them. So yeah, I'm like, when I go back, I'll be renewing the insurance for the yellow van because it'll have expired by the time I get back because I only put a 3-month on it. And yeah, if I'm advertising it as certified, fully registered for the next year, it'll sell. And like I said, it'll be to someone that doesn't have it. But the guards, they don't care if you're local with that crap. It's only us that they care about that, right? Like I have honestly seen 12-year-old kids driving scooters all throughout my neighborhood with like 3 other kids on them, right? Like it's a different world there, and it builds tougher people. To be honest, I mean, I don't have a problem with it, but the idea that it doesn't happen and everyone there is 100% legit on the road, that's a delusion. That's a delusion. But they, just like any other government, though, they're not going to advertise. Hey, we don't care if the locals screw up. We just care if you whiteys do or you Westerners do. Well, it's because they know we can pay. It's just another version of skin tax, right? But in the same sense, they know we come from countries that we know better than to drive around without a helmet on or to drive around without lights on. So they're going to nail us for it because they know we know better, right? Which is irritating for sure, but I still drive like I'm in North America here. And yesterday, my daughter was bitching about, why are you driving so slow? I was going 100 in a 100 zone, right? I'm not in a rush anymore. Because I am quasi retired. I mean, I'm only going to be working 8 days of this 34-day back, right? The rest, I mean, when working in my house, I guess that counts too. But I mean, 8 days of fish. That's all I really have to really, really focus on. Everything else is elective. And so, yeah, I'm fixing stuff up in the house for sure. And I want it to be better. Like certain things are broken again that I fixed already, like one of the bathrooms. And it's like, but I'll fix it. It's no problem. And it helps kill the time. It helps pass the time too. And I will make content from it because, like I said, this summer, all the videos of me working on stuff and building stuff got some pretty good clicks, some pretty good likes compared to, my daily walk arounds in the Philippines. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think I like everything I publish. And I have gotten into the habit of pre-watching before I publish just to make sure I'm not too harsh. And I've started trying to learn how to use a snippet software just for swear words for those gentlemen and ladies that have voiced that's part of what they don't like is when I swear too much. So I'm educated enough that I can talk and articulate ideas without swearing. So I've tried to take that into measure and not swear. Plus, I also do have a lot of young Filipino people who are fans. Like if you watch my videos, I'm walking there and like, I watch your show, and it's like the kids like, I don't know, 10 or 12, like, you know what I mean? So I will try to keep shows more G-rated for that audience for sure. But I mean, at the same sense, I do mark videos not made for kids when I expect that I'm not, when we're talking about something that's not for kids. So I'm definitely doing my part, trying to do my part to, keep the audience appropriately aged, I guess, to the video in question. But my blog wasn't geared towards children originally, right? Like I guess it could have been if it was just about the show. I could definitely keep it incredibly G-rated, incredibly PG, whatever term you want to use. But I then branched off into travel and running a business over there and dating advice and all of that kind of stuff, all these subtopics, which aren't really kid-friendly topics. So I've just been trying to mark them that way, right? So I apologize if some of those people who were not following because the swear words were parents of said little ones, but I have went back up over the 250 mark, so I'm halfway there. I'd love to get to the 500 before the end of the year. I think that's incredibly skeptical without me chins bagging and buying, and I don't want to do that. So what happens is I just have to hope that, some of these live blogs pick up some new people. I get some new subscribers from the bio. just things like that. It's an interesting learning experience. We'll see how it goes, how this bio thing is, if it leads to increased followers or decreased followers. So, but yeah, no, I just don't really have anything else for content out here. It's really boring in Canada. Like that's why I try to get people to move, right? I mean, like today I was talking to two old timers in the DMV, and the one guy is super, super old world, old mentality, Archie Bunker style. And he was not liking what he was seeing everywhere, how he was waiting in line behind all these other people that, probably don't. Yeah, so they were new, right? So, and he didn't like that. So, but I said, why are you here if you don't have to be here? Philippines is calling, man. 800 a month, you live like a king, which I think is true, folks. I know. I watched another guy video saying pension isn't enough. Unless you live in the BGC, it should be more than enough. Even if you have a minimal pension here in Canada, it works out to almost 60,000 pesos. That's the minimal. The average Joe gets about 75,000 pesos a month. If you can't survive on that, something's wrong. Something's real wrong. Even that guy living in the expensive area of 28K a month for, a 2-bedroom apartment, house, or whatever, you can do that on 75. It sucks you're using 1/3 right off the top like that. But I mean, food is not going to cost you 50. Gas on your bike is not going to cost you that. And what other expenses does he really have? Do you know what I mean? So it's very, very doable to live on just a pension. So when the guys was like, the one guy doing the show was like, no, I can't live on just your pension. I'm sorry, man. If I would be very thankful to have a pension to be living off of over there. But no, 1 second, folks. I just have to step away for a second. Too bad I didn't have a stream set up for a commercial. That would have been fun. Maybe for next week. Because that's the thing. I want to try and advance my YouTubing skill there with these lives. But I don't really know how to use the sideboard at all. I mean, I can chat back to people when they chat. And I'm seeing questions. I mean, from the one person that asked a question. But like I said, I don't know if you guys are seeing the chat or not, or if it just shows up on my end. Like I said, this other guy I watch, he had it where it came up as a little thing right here. Ooh, there. As a drop-down box. You could see what people were typing. So I'm hoping that you guys can see at least on the side. But yeah. So I don't know what else to talk about, guys, folks. Don't really have much planned this week. I'm just waiting to take orders, and then next week, it's Christmas, and I will try and do a live stream next Monday, same time, and see what people can always also, even if you're watching this after it's not live anymore, because I got quite a few the videos back then were a much different capacity, and I didn't do any of the editing. I had a guy who was kind of a collaborator on that, who I would just send him raw video, and it was normally just me at my desk or in this one chair doing the whole fireside chat thing. So yeah, I mean, definitely it's different kind of content, different kind of channel. I think it was a lot easier to build it for the same reason that the trolls and the hater people on the YouTube build bigger people too. It's sensationalism, right? You get more clicks with excitable content. There's billions of people out there producing stuff every day. And so the market is very saturated. So I feel definitely being one of the original people who was doing that kind of stuff on YouTube when YouTube first came out. It was a lot easier, because I was able to find people who agreed with my political ideologies and agree with what I was saying, the common sense initiatives I would propose, and talk about the opinions of things in the news that day. It was almost like a Daily Show, but Canadian edition. No comedy sketches or anything, but it was definitely that me chatting to a camera. What I'm doing right now, pretty much. Except I had a much better camera then, and I always did it in the same two spots. I like stage almost, right? And they were really, really practical spots in my house. I did use those for normal stuff too. It's just that's where I always chose to set up the tripod. But no, I had pretty much another guy do a lot of the editing for me. Actually, a couple different guys over the years did it. And it was cheap. It wasn't that much. I paid the one guy like $25 a video, and I'd send him 4 tapes at a time or 4 files, at a time. And he would splice out the uhs and the ahs and, fix these kinds of things. And sometimes we dub over swear words. And he also did the language type up because he didn't used to just do that through an AI. And so that was really useful. Like I said, I think that if I ever, when I finish the show, not if I ever, but when I finish the show, I will probably take up that one person if the email still works. It sounds like a very fake, suspicious email, but they sent me thumbnails of some of my old videos, and they said they can get them all, a whole bunch, like over 2,000 videos off the dark web from some old Wayback site. So if that's true, I pay that when I have the money, when it's extra money just to throw away, right? In case it's a scam, but even if it's not a scam, in today's modern environment, how much of what I put up are they even going to let me put up? Like, I know 2 or 3 other YouTube people who can't put up most of their content. And it used to be on YouTube, but they were taking it down because it was, hateful to this group or hateful to that group, or didn't pass some sort of stink test that, YouTube has. He posts videos now still all the time, but they're watered down versions of what they used to be. He was a little more harsh before. So for me, if I bought that 2,000 cluster of videos, and there was well over 6,000. I mean, I've been working on that channel for 8 or 9 years. At least. I don't know how long, but it was a long time. So that 2,000 is really just a raindrop bucket. And is it going to be 2,000 sequential ones? Is it going to be 2,000 ABCs of a single topic? Or is it going to be a lot of A's, some B's, no C's? So everything's broken and choppy, right? Like, I would probably end up wasting, at least a month or 2 if I got them back, reviewing them all. And I would probably have to do some edits. Yeah, I think that would be probably how I would do it if I got those back. But, and I mean, YouTube itself has changed a lot. It's actually a lot simpler now. There's like only 3 buttons on the side and this and that. And I know how to bring in my other screens. I just don't know how to move the physical top chat box that's I'm seeing here. If you guys are not seeing it, I don't know if you are or not, right? Or if it's only something that gets seen after you are no longer live. So like people can look into it, see what was said. I don't know. And I never did lives before. I mean, it was really only people asking me to do lives. Well, just do it once a week. I said, okay. Yeah, why not? And now that I'm doing the bio, of course, it gives people chances to ask questions. I may not answer. It was too personal stuff, but I mean, if it was generic stuff, I'll answer. I don't mind. I just don't want to be creating any drama for anybody, right? So, It's not worth the clicks. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to go for clicks the same way other guys are. I'd rather have content that was informative, sometimes funny, and that you can relate to. And I mean, sure, my bio is not going to make me relatable to everybody under the sun, but so far, I mean, for a guy who's in his mid 40s, late 40s, to already be spending half my year away, to have zero debt in the world. I mean, I don't know. I think, you know, I'm doing okay from where I started. So I think that's what the message is in these first 3 bio videos is about, is just showing that, I didn't exactly come from a silver spoon. Like a lot of these other, sadly, I don't watch any or hear any podcasts. I just never have that time or that capacity. Even some days it's difficult to get time to sit down, even just to make a short 20-minute video. Like there's sometimes I post at midnight because I forgot all day when I'm in the Philippines. And then here there's just nothing to broadcast. So I just feel it's lame to just be, and I do podcasts. Like when I do a visual, a video that is not got anything nice to look at, there's just the same thing, or it's the side of a wall, I label them podcast as a way to just let people know. It's the kind you can just put your earbuds on, forget about, you don't have to worry about looking at your screen if you're running or jogging or whatever. So no, I don't get a chance to really watch any podcasts myself. I do a bit of YouTube surfing, and I guess, if I got back into jogging or biking, something where, you're not able to be looking at a screen, I would probably get into something like loading some pre-made podcasts. I used to do that for a few. Don't even know if any of those people are still around. It's so long ago. One of them, I saw he made a transition to YouTube about 4 or 5 years ago. I saw his videos. I was like, oh, hey, that's the same guy. But, and then other guys have just gotten super huge. I'd probably be a guy who would listen to Joe Rogan just to hear who he had on and what kind of stories they're talking about, because that's a great way to waste 3 hours, But even his show has now become more, you almost want to have a screen because you want to see what he's showing, see what he's talking about. So, no, I don't. That's the answer. I don't watch any podcasts. So, yeah. But I could definitely, Google them up and see if any of them tickle my fancy. There's in case they're not listed out there for the live audience, it's My Lunch Break is one. Arch Axe, that's ARCHAIX, is one. Or the Paranormies. So yeah. If anybody who's watching this in the future is like, oh, what kind of podcast was he talking about? There you go. So I'm at 0 followers. It's an hour in. I knew these Canadian ones would be quieter for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Like, follow, subscribe. I'll try and do another one next Monday. Anytime it's wherever I am. If I'm in Canada, where Eastern Standard Time is going to be at 9:00. When I'm in the Philippines, it's 9:00 Monday, whenever timeline I'm in there. It's 12 hours difference. So right now it is almost 10 a.m. on their Tuesday. So again, like, follow, subscribe. Feel free to post questions. Appreciate all the feedback, and have yourself all a very Merry Christmas.